faces a threat in federal court. The second-term governor is, for the first time, working with the legislature under complete Democratic control. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
A new study suggests that over half of Europe's ski resorts will face a severe lack of snow if temperatures rise 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, while nearly all would be without snow if there's an increase of 4 degrees. The paper, published in the journal Nature Climate Change, the team of experts warns production of artificial snow would only partially offset the decline. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Hello, everybody. This is Lawrence Sutton with Tennessee Talks with Kip Capley. Unfortunately, we still have things going on right now in the House, and Senate's adjourned, and I am today here with Brandon Taylor and good old Chris. What's going on, Chris?
I don't know what to say. I'm just sorely disappointed that we still have the House up there wanting to hear bills.
You know, not only they wanting to hear bills, they're wanting to pass bills.
Well, I agree. You're totally right. I'm appalled, especially when we have a supermajority with 75 Republicans. There's no way this should even be taking place.
There shouldn't be, and you know what we need to do? We need to get all of them together, have them come over to Strikers and sit down and have a good meal.
Give them a good Lawrence County welcome, right?
Give them a good Lawrence County welcome. If they don't do what they want, we'll give them a good Lawrence County kick in the rear end. That's what they need right now. I'm going to tell you right now.
Well, while we're on it real quick, we really want to give a shout-out to Strikers. Charlotte brought the menu back out. I'm sorry, guys, I hadn't brought it back to you. We kept it. We love talking about you. Your good food, good hospitality, good service.
Absolutely. Brandon and I, we ate there last week. We had a good meal, didn't we?
We did. We probably should have met there today, but we just didn't have time, did we?
No, we just run out of time. We're busy. We have things to do.
Yeah.
All this volunteer work's killing us.
This
Chris.
volunteer work doesn't pay, does it?
We need to start finding a way to get paid doing the radio.
Something.
I really want to make a point, and I hope, and I have to say, let's give a shout out to both Kip Capley and Clay Doggett, and I want to give a shout out to Todd Warner as well, up in Marshall County.
Absolutely.
Did any of those three guys introduce any legislation during this special session? That's what a true conservative is. If you really want to think about it, none of our Republican legislators, both the House and Senate, should have issued any type of legislation. I don't care how bad the governor wanted it.
You know, the government can want things all he wants, but it's not what he wants, it's what the people wants. And I'm going to tell you something. People of Tennessee, we don't want this. I would say, I'm not going to say all, but I would say most of the people up there right now that are protesting and wanting gun legislation, i.e. the commie mommies, the moms demand action.
Right.
They're not from here. And they're being bussed here, they're being paid here, and they're creating a disruption. As a matter of fact, they created such a disruption, we just found out just a couple of minutes ago that they were kicked out.
They emptied the gallery.
They emptied the gallery because they don't know how to behave. And it has nothing to do with free speech. You know, people, they're going to want to come out and say, oh, well, it's our free speech. No, it's not your free speech to act like an idiot.
Amen.
That is not your free speech, Will.
I already feel the heat coming off of him this afternoon, and we're just now getting started. We didn't even get warmed up. He goes from cold to hot.
I mean,
well, I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, and I was there last week when they emptied one of the committee rooms.
We all three were.
We were all in the same room. That's right. We were all three in there together. And I'm glad that they've actually emptied that. If they're going to protest, shut it down. I thought we got better results by shutting that down. They got something done in the committee. Move them out. If they're going to protest, it cannot be successful if they're going to go in there and try to disrupt. The disruption cannot be successful. If they want to go up there and hold a sign and protest or something out in the halls, they have all the rights to do that. And what's funny is we were there, I don't see anybody holding signs in the halls.
No.
They were only holding signs for the cameras. And I didn't even know, maybe I'm ignorant, last person to know this. I didn't even know they had signs until we got into the committee room and I saw these signs come up. I hadn't seen anyone holding signs up.
They slid them out of their portfolio just like I'm carrying.
And they didn't have signs when we came out of the the gallery upstairs. When
Both
we came
the Senate and House.
When we came, yes, and when we came out and they were protesting in the hallways, I didn't see any signs being held. There may have been a few being held up, but they were shouting, but there were no signs. They're only wanting signs in the committee rooms.
That's right. And guess who was, when we came out of the House session that morning, guess who was the cheerleaders agging all these commie mommies, moms that demand action, and people that probably don't even live in Tennessee? Guess who was agging them on? The Three-Amigos, or let me back up, Three Stooges. I'm going to stick to what I really called them: Gloria Johnson, Justin Pearson, and Justin Jones. You know, we all got to see Justin Pearson come up into the gallery with his bodyguard, just like he's a celebrity. Going around with a bodyguard now. This is what we're dealing with.
He's a celebrity.
Well, you know what? He's an activist is what he is.
That's what he is.
He is not a legislator. This man is not a legislator. He's an activist. And I'm telling you right now, everybody, you need to go watch. Don't just take our word for it. Go watch. Watch how this man operates. This man is operating to take away your freedom. I mean, period, end of story. And he just yells out and says, "I'm here to protect your children and grandchildren." No, you're not. You're a liar. And what does Satan do? Satan lies. And he's a tool of Satan. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, he's a tool of Satan.
Well, you know, we were moved out of the committee room, and that video now it's been seen hundreds of thousands of times. It will hit millions of views. We're actually in the video. As people go look at the video, there's folks, all kinds of folks from Lawrence, Giles, Lewis County, Wayne County, all in that room. Good tax-paying citizens of Tennessee sitting there, not protesting. We were there as citizens sitting in the house that we own because it belongs to us.
Right.
It's our house. And when they started to remove this lady for protesting, go back and watch the video. You'll see the screen get narrow and they blur out the sides and they get it right down to her. Because one of the ladies across the aisle from her was literally about to start laughing. Because it was so funny. If you go back and watch, you got to watch the video and look at the people in the background, and you're going to see Lawrence Sutton, you're going to see Chris Morris, you're going to see Brandon Taylor. We were there. Several of our friends were there, and they were literally about to start laughing at her because of the way she was acting. You see a reporter, you see a gentleman come over and kneel down beside her. That reporter was beside me. And I watched as some of the people who said they were from the Covenant School, said they were parents with Covenant School, which I do not believe these people were. I'm just telling you what I believe. They were texting that reporter. That reporter then give hand signals and give signs like he was calling pitches in a baseball game to another reporter who got the camera on because they knew what she was fixing to do. That's the reason why this lady was actually recorded. This was every bit of this was staged. This is nothing but a production that's been put on, and I witnessed it. And that reporter that walks up and kneels down next to her, we can't play it here on the radio, but I could talk you through this video. I'm in the video. You see me in the background. I watched the entire thing. I watched him. I knew something was about to happen. They started recording this lady. Then she started speaking out. Then it was all staged so they could be sure that they got it on camera.
Well, they had to get it on camera because they have to show how they're being treated is the main reason. But I'm going to tell you, you brought up the Covenant moms, and I'm going to tell you, well, I mean, I don't want to pick on anybody. No. I'm just telling you what I saw. And you had this lady come very directly at us, Brandon, and said, "These seats are saved." When we went to sit down, all these seats are saved. We're the Covenant moms. And I'm like, okay. But I'm going to tell you what pissed me off is I saw 2 different times women come up there to get those seats that were saved, and they're introducing themselves to each other.
Amen.
If these were the Covenant moms, don't you think they would have known each other? I mean,
I don't believe it. I'm just telling you,
I don't either. I didn't either. I believed it. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. When they were sitting there saying, I'll even give them a reason for their attitude, because it was very snarky, very, pissy is about the best way I know to say it. But when I saw these women coming up and they're literally introducing themselves, like the first time we ever introduced ourselves, "Hey, I'm Lawrence Sutton, Chris Morris, how are you doing? Nice to meet you." And that's what they're doing. It's nice to meet you.
They were doing the same thing.
Yes.
Yep. Well, and we don't have to talk about this long, but I will tell you, I am going to make myself available if any of the lawmakers, after this special session is over and they will start talking about committee rules, if they want someone to come up and testify about what they saw, I volunteer my time, and I know there are a lot of other people sitting in those rows.
Absolutely.
I volunteer. I will go and testify to what I've seen to help get the rules fixed in the committee.
You know, one of the things that I mentioned, and I want to give us talk about the special session on the 22nd before we get away from it. But one of the things that I mentioned to Clay, the committee he chairs, the subcommittee of the civil justice and or criminal justice, one of the two.
Right.
But we need to have assigned seats. If you notice, the 3 Democrats got right down front on the very front row, and Clay, their backs are to Clay. But they get far away from everybody, and I told Clay, I said, from this point forward, the House needs to set some rules in committee meetings. You got a Republican, 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 Democrat, Republican, Republican. Put them in assigned seating, because those 3 got down there, and you watched it as well as I did, and Lawrence, that Gloria Johnson making faces, inciting the commie mommies, just doing everything she can to be disruptive and to get things started. It's all on a signal. They've got it's just like playing baseball. That catcher is giving them 2 fingers down or 1 finger up.
Sure.
Or whatever. They're calling plays.
Well, let me ask this question. So you bring it up, and so educate me a little bit. So they pick those seats where they're sitting. They just went there and sit down wherever they want to.
They go in there and sit down wherever they want to and put their little name placard up.
Because they sat, for those of you that weren't there, they were not the row in front of Clay Doggett. They were 2 rows out in front of Clay Doggett.
They were closest to the people.
Closest
to the people.
Out front, and Clay's in the very back because he's chairing, because he's got to watch for the hands that are being raised. All the people sitting there on the committee are actually facing the crowd, because it's for public. This can be witnessed in public. It looks almost like a court case going on is what it is. You're bringing testimony, and you're bringing experts in that can talk about it. You go back to legal. Legal talks about the legal aspects of each bill, and I don't want to bore people, but what I saw was they would act like they were raising their hands, or they would raise their hands really quick, and if Clay didn't catch it, like he's supposed to be staring at the back of their heads, they would get mad about it.
They go to hollering.
Yeah, they would get mad, and they would raise their hands very fast. They didn't hold their hands up very long. They would just kind of raise their hand. They didn't turn back and look at him. They just expected him to be sitting there looking at them. And so anyway, it was a very disrespectful committee meeting. But I'm just putting this out there for any legislators. If you call me, I'll take day off work to come in and testify in front of any legislative committee, and I don't care who don't like it. The truth will set you free, and the truth needs to be told on this matter.
That's right.
It absolutely does, and I'll second that, Brandon. I'll be right there with you. If they need more than 1 witness,
I'll 30.
So
So I believe we're on a roll now.
Yeah.
Did you see the snowball get kicked off the mountain?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have 30 people in there saying we're ready to testify on
One
this.
thing that we really, really need to talk about real quick, we just need to really give a warm, heartfelt thank you from everybody who helped support our efforts. We had about approximately 130 people who came from 12 different counties that showed up on the 22nd. And we had so many people, the gallery holds approximately 150 people.
Yeah.
But on one side, they had one side closed off. It was for media only.
Correct.
And I wanted to get to that side because that's where I could watch Justin Jones, Gloria Johnson, and Justin Pearson.
Sure.
From where we were sitting, they were sort of up under us, okay?
Yep.
But anyway, we had only 23 of the commie mommies in the gallery with us. And I want to say a heartfelt thank you to everybody who took their day off from work and went up there and helped support these legislators. We completely filled the Senate gallery that morning.
Oh,
and
yes.
you opened with a word of prayer. You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
and was glad of that. But we filled the Senate gallery.
So how did you
Absolutely.
know there was only 23 protesters there at that?
We counted them.
When they stood up?
When they stood up, we counted them.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you get Tommy Lee Kidd in that? Because he stood up with him.
Hey, listen.
I'm sorry, Tommy, but we're not letting you live that down, buddy.
Tommy, I'm going to take up for you, brother, because not only did one from Lawrence County and one of you, I mean, he's an elected official over here in the courthouse.
Yeah.
But we had one from Giles County that did it, and a retired lieutenant colonel from Lincoln County. Hey, guys, sit down, because what they were actually doing, they were talking about gun violence and what had happened, and so got killed, and we need to give a moment of silence. And
Right.
which I hate that this happens to anybody.
Absolutely.
But they're building their show. That's
Yep.
all they were doing. And so anyway, they would stand up and respect and give a moment of silence because they seen the legislators stand up. I hollered over, hey, y'all sit down. Don't stand up with these darn protesters.
Yeah,
sit down.
Yeah, they just stood up. It looked like a moment of prayer, or
It did.
Well, that's what it was. And that's
wasn't
why
like they
A moment of silence.
They weren't yelling, take
No.
the firearms or ban, ARs or anything like
No,
that.
that's,
Hey,
what, that's what
Lawrence.
Tommy was doing. Tommy's thinking, "Oh my goodness, I'm somebody's getting saved. I need to pray for him." That's what Tommy's thinking, but he can't hear.
But how do y'all like this?
It's worthless.
Yeah,
Man, that is so annoying. These people, these grown adults, wherever you're coming from, you're not welcome in my house, I promise you. But wherever you're coming from, you want to act like a bunch of kindergartners on the playground.
Yeah. Well, I had a chance to
snapping your
actually
fingers.
talk to a
that
couple
sounded
of
like the
judges.
Addams family.
Yeah.
I had a chance to talk to a couple of judges over the weekend. We had a fundraising event at West End Community Center, and folks were there. And so we always have elected officials and judges come out. And I just asked them, what would you do in your courtroom if someone disrupted the court process? And how he said, I would just shut it down.
They'd be held in contempt.
Shut it down. But here's the thing. How can the bill, what's on trial, when you go into committee, this is the way I see it. If I'm wrong, forgive me. I know I got a lot of legal experts out there that critique me, but I'm speaking good old boy language here, okay? Basically, the bill is what's on trial. So when you go in there to give the bill a good, fair trial, that's why there's respect in the room. You bring it up, you're calling in legal, you got experts that come in, and then you're going to vote on it. And it's almost like a trial for the bill before a jury is what it's set up like. And it's for people that's never been there, they may not know. They just think you go up there and pass a bill and vote on it. It doesn't work that way. If it doesn't make it out of committee, then that's where most bills get killed at, is in the committee. So having a fair and balanced place for us to present bills, to be heard, makes a very effective legal system for us, makes a very effective government. This is trying to disrupt the process of government in the state of Tennessee, is all this is.
So let me bring this out, because I'm going to tell you, this is a pet peeve of mine. Maybe not for other people, but how are you supposed to honestly go through 100 bills in a week when most of these bills are 20, 30, 40, 50 some odd pages? I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm also not that dumb either. And I could not read all of these bills that they're trying to get passed as quickly as they are. And I just think that nefarious things are going on when you take that much time, especially when you won't even let the bills get out earlier so people can see it.
They don't want people to see it.
No, they don't.
Just before this radio show, us three sitting here, and folks, we work and we've got stuff going on, but
Right.
we're doing the best we can to stay on top of this. As a matter of fact, let me give a shout out to our friends that are up there right now. We have several
Yes.
friends that are actually just been kicked out of one of those sessions
Yeah.
just a few minutes ago. They're texting me.
Sending
and giving
video.
us- they're giving
sending
us
videos,
information. They've actually, some of them have been actually told go home and things like that. Some of our close friends have texted me and told me that themselves by some of the protesters. But when you see these kinds of things coming through and we're trying to watch it, we're pulling up online and we're trying to find it on news because there's 17 bills that are up right now. A lot of people may not know that. The
Yeah.
Senate had 3, and so the 3 were actually, I couldn't find anything wrong with the 3 they had. If I
No.
could, I would let you know. But these are 17, and right now we're trying to read this and stay up on it. and they're angry because we can't go back in there and pass some of these bills before they even have a chance to go talk to their constituents.
That's
about
the
these
House.
things. That's exactly
the
right.
House.
Not
The
the
Senate.
Senate.
The Senate.
It's not the Senate.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, the Senate standing strong. It's the House.
That's right.
And I'm going to say this while it's on my mind or I'll forget it. We need new leadership in the House. It's time for that current leadership to go. That would be your Speaker of the House.
Cameron Sexton.
Yeah,
Yep.
that would be your House Majority Leader.
Yep, that would be William Lamberth.
And then I done forgot what I call him, the guy that likes to jerk down grown man's pants, Jeremy Faison, where he tried to jerk down a referee's pants on a basketball court where he's from up in East Tennessee.
Oh,
Do you not remember that?
Yeah, I remember something
And
about
he
that.
should have been sanctioned for his actions as a state leader in legislation for his actions there at that ball game. But anyway, we need new leadership. The problem is it's in the leadership, and I hope you two agree with me.
Well, I do agree. If the leadership can't get along, you're going to have to get some different leadership to begin with. Now, the last I heard, and I'm sitting here right now trying to take in information. People sending me stuff that news is just coming out.
It's coming in constantly.
Right now as we're speaking, because there's things going on. But the Senate, the last count I heard, has refused to meet with Governor Bill Lee. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I'm going to tell you something. I am very impressed right now with our Senate and our Senate leadership. And we all talked about it, and we had numerous conversations before this special session even began, that we were worried about the Senate. We thought the House would do what was going to be the proper thing, and we were worried about the Senate.
That's correct.
And it's been the exact opposite. And I'm going to tell you something. I had a very good conversation with Paige Wally over the weekend. And we need to get Paige on our program here one day to kind of go into detail. But Paige told me that basically his thought process is there really only needs to be one bill passed, when they start in January. And he says that bill needs to be passed as our budget. He said, let's get the budget done properly, and let's go home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That's wonderful. And I said, and we need to start looking at getting rid of bills, not adding to bills.
Or getting rid of laws.
Or laws. I meant laws.
That's what you meant,
yeah. I mean, so right now, I just got a text in.
I got breaking news.
Yeah, I do too. WKN here.
WKRN, Channel 2.
Yeah, chaos erupted in the State House once again Monday afternoon with citizens removed from the galleries. It took place during a bill from Rep. Scott Sapicki that allows law enforcement agencies to assign school officers to school over their wishes. Citizens in the gallery of the House were ordered removed by House Speaker Cameron Sexton after becoming angry at procedural moves that silenced Rep. Justin Jones for the rest of the day.
Can I help you with that just a second for the people out there listening to us?
Yep.
Metro Davidson County. It's a metropolitan form of government. They have refused to take the money for the additional SROs in the schools in Davidson County.
That's
so
correct.
That doesn't say much for that commie mayor, which is Cooper right now. And then I don't know where the chief of police, Metro Police Chief, stands on it, but it says Democrats walk out of the House after Representative Justin Jones, was silenced. I watched him
Because of how he acts.
become
he
a
acts
clown.
Like a fool.
He became a clown up there, and they kept having to call him out, and he just keeps running. He's got diarrhea of the mouth. And, he come over and sat down. Y'all noticed him sitting down in front of me the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, you and Dave Vance. I thought Dave Vance was going to get him.
I don't know what he's thinking about, but hey, listen. You don't need to provoke people. You
know what? It's kind of funny when you say diarrhea of the mouth, because that's exactly what comes out of that man's mouth is bleep. I'm not going to say it. We're on radio here. But that's exactly what comes out of his mouth.
Let me jump back on this breaking news because it looks like all the Democrats have walked out of the House.
They did.
And they have set down Justin Jones. Now, for those listening, I'll tell you what's happening with Justin Jones. He actually will speak out of turn.
Yes.
He'll just speak. You have to be called on. There is a process for doing this, which has been going on for over 250 years in this country that we use. And if we allow these people to just walk in there and say whatever they want to, then they're going to have to just allow us to start saying whatever we want. And nothing's going to get accomplished. And they want to create a place of chaos.
So much animosity.
And I will not. I'll tell you guys, I will not stand by and just watch this happen. You think, what are you going to do? I want us to get more active in our state capital. Lawrence County, Giles County, Lewis County. We've got Caleb Thomas and Cody Mitchell are going to be here with us from Lewis County on Wednesday. We're bringing the counties together. Thank you, Lawrence County, for what you're doing, but we're bringing these counties together, and I want us, this is something I'm going to be working on, and folks in this community, if you want to be a part of it, I'm inviting you in. We need a couple of days out of every regular session where we go up there, and we're in the Cordell Hall building, we're in the Capitol building, and here's why. We need to know where the bathrooms are, where to park, how to get around the building. People are asking me questions. Where's the elevator at? You need to know where the vending machines are. I want to take you up there and show you around. I'll show you myself. I want to get people up there where they know, because we are going to have to take our house back. We cannot have chaos like this and sit home.
No, we can't. And I'm going to tell you this.
What's my favorite saying?
Well, let me get to your favorite saying in a second, because I really want to make this point home. The Democrats are erupting and they're getting mad because the Republicans are wanting to put police officers in schools to protect the children. I want you guys to think, these people say we need less guns to protect our children. These are the same people that want to abort children. These are also the same people. Do you really think they want to protect the children?
No.
And when they won't even allow police officers in school?
No.
Trained police officers? Let me tell you something. You cannot be that stupid. Listen to me. You cannot be that stupid on purpose or on accident. I mean, this is on purpose. These people deliberately want to put our children in harm's way.
Well, we were debating a couple of the mothers, I can't remember the term that they had, but the
Mothers Demand Action.
Mothers Demand Action. We were
Commie
debating
mommies.
a couple of those. And as we were debating them, one of the questions I asked, and of course they really were ready to leave the room at this point, but one of the questions I actually asked him, I said, what would you think would happen if these legislators, our state reps and state senators, if they got up, going to come up to the state capitol on Tuesday morning, last week, or this morning, even today, and they called all of them and said, you guys come on in, but there won't be any state troopers here. There won't be any police force here. There's not going to be any security here at the Capitol. None of them would go. They wouldn't go. They'd say, we're not going up there. But yet, and I made this point, I said, but yet we will send our kids into a situation that's similar and not give them security in the fact that in a school system where there could be a threat. And all we want as good conservative Americans is I want to see SRO officers in the school protecting it. And I'm telling you, I don't know why parents send their kids in. If parents would just say, guess what? I'm not sending my kids there. If you had 100 different families that said, you know what? We're not putting our kids in that school until you do something about it. Something would be done in 48 hours.
So I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if it will or not, because I was reading an article here about 2 weeks ago when school started. And there is over 2 million less children going to school this year than last year.
Now, is that nationwide?
That's nationwide, yes.
Okay.
But 2 million less children are going to school.
So they're going they're either being homeschooled or going to a private school.
Right.
Sure. A Christian school.
But I mean, I'm going to tell you something right now. If I was to even send my kids to public school, which I wouldn't, and you know what? We live in a great community here. I love Lawrence County. I even love Lawrence County school systems. But the fact remains, they get federal dollars and they have to teach certain things that I am going to be opposed of and I'm going to be against, and I do not want my children indoctrinated.
Because there's tentacles attached to those federal dollars.
That's correct. And I am not sending my children to school because I'm afraid of them even getting shot. I feel like we have a very safe community and we have very good SRO
Absolutely.
officers. I'm just scared of what they're going to be taught.
You mentioned something a while ago and I looked over at you. watching a program yesterday afternoon, and where they took the redcoats before we ever came across the pond to develop our own country, where the redcoats were collecting the guns. It was illegal to have a firearm in Great Britain, and they went around collecting the guns. Well, these children saw a raven, and they wanted to shoot the raven, so they loaded the little musket pistol, and they shot and killed the raven. Redcoats heard it, and they came and did a search and seizure of the home. Is this what we want in America?
This is what is happening.
This is why we left the mothership over there, the Crown.
That's correct. So I'm going to tell you, we brought up the Mother's Demand Action when we came in. They wanted to talk to us until they found out that we were with the media, and then they wanted to run, literally run out of the room. Well, one of the things that I brought up to them, if the guns are the problem, okay, why is it when Australia banned guns and started taking up guns in 1996 that for 5 years in a row there were more murders and suicides in Australia than before when the guns were taken?
Or if gun bans work, I thought guns were illegal in Chicago. How safe is that city?
Or Los Angeles?
It's
or
running
New York.
amok.
There's firearms everywhere.
In Minneapolis, Minnesota, Los Angeles,
for people,
Chicago.
For people at home, I mean, if you're listening to this, I'll tell you something that's really neat. Look up the documentaries just on YouTube called Police No-Go Zones, where the police don't go in this country. And it's cities where the firearms have been banned, and that they have so many illegal guns in these areas, the police don't even go there.
They're scared.
Well, if you get in a confrontation and somebody you have to shoot somebody, you could lose your house or even be put in jail at the same time.
It's crazy. Evil has become the new form of, as you say, good.
Right.
But it's not.
The police department, let me finish that thought, because it's not the police's fault.
No, it's not.
Law enforcement has to have good legislation behind it. And if you want good legislation, you got to have citizens behind it. That's why these people know if they go up there, they disrupt this process. The special session has not gone the way they wanted it to. They wanted to pass laws banning firearms, not matches, not gasoline for those who are mentally ill. They didn't go and try to even do anything for the mentally ill. Well, I'm for helping the mentally ill. I believe that we should help them. There are mentally ill people in this state that need help, and we're sitting here with billions of dollars in excess funds where we could help some people. And they don't want to do that. Only thing they went up there and talked about was 30-round magazines. They did not want more SROs in school. That's the only thing they've talked. Gun locks. They've talked about gun locks more than any other topic at the state capitol for the last 10 days. And I mean, we're not talking about anything to help mental health.
Another thing that set the light off is these gun-free zones. Mm-hmm. You think about it. That deranged female that did the shooting at the Covenant School, she was looking for soft targets.
Sure.
Where there was gun-free zones like Covenant, I think another one, I haven't seen the manifesto. Nobody has seen the manifesto that I know about. But I think
liberals,
okay.
Yeah.
One of the soft targets that she looked at was Opry Mills Mall, is my understanding. And since there was armed security there, she withdrew from that.
And there was another school.
There was another school
she looked at that had SRO officers there. That's what I'm telling you. When these people are screaming this, these lawmakers like Justin Jones, Gloria Johnson,
they're not
and
lawmakers.
The rest of them,
activists.
The activists.
They are absolutely activists.
When they are saying these things, it is a lie from the pit of hell, and they realize it. I'm going to tell you something. There's no way that they're doing this on accident. It has to be on purpose.
No, it's not on accident. If you watch one of the videos that Justin Jones did himself, you can go online and find it. It's called Democracy Now!, where he did an interview. They played the video that you and I and Lawrence were in, Chris. We were all in the video with some of our other friends, and he's talking about that video as it's going along, And so what I would like to say for everybody that's listening to this, Justin Jones wasn't even in the room.
That's right.
Let me go ahead and set the record straight. He was not even in that room when they cleared that room while we were there. Period.
That's correct.
Neither was Justin Pearson.
Neither
Not
one of
even
them.
in the room.
Now, Gloria Johnson. No, she wasn't. None of the three, I think. That was
Gloria
not.
Johnson was not in that room.
None of those three were in that
That's
room when
correct.
it was cleared.
That's correct. And that woman, the protester that they walked out, none of those three were there. Justin Jones has come back and acted like he was in the middle of it, acting like he was part of it. He was not even there. We have political activists, as you said. You're right. You said they're lawmakers. Here's what we have. We have political activists who now have a seat at the table.
Who got elected.
My question for the citizens of the state of Tennessee is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit back and not push for rules and regulations to be enforced? And what amazes me, and my wife said this, so I'm going to give her the credit. She said it right there when we got thrown out of that committee room. She said this. She said, you people that want more rules hate the rules that are already in place.
Don't abide by them.
Don't abide by them. That's correct.
You don't abide. Well, Justin Jones has never abided by rules. He has 14 criminal acts on his rap sheet, and he is a violent criminal and has been.
You know why he never got prosecuted, don't you? Because of that inept, lame duck DA in Davidson County, Glenn Funk.
Oh.
He needs to be removed.
I tell you what, I got up on Justin Jones. I like to know how he is a violent felon. Or not felon. He hadn't been prosecuted, but how he is a violent offender. Because I would love for him to come be violent with me.
We're saying aggravated robbery. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that's on there, and I'm not quoting it. I can't remember exactly what it is. You can go look online. I don't carry his rap sheet around with me everywhere I go. I mean, I glanced at it and I was like, well, that's good enough. This is a hero for the left.
You remember when they were burning Nashville? He's jumping on police cars, destroying police cars.
Here's what I want to say about conservatives. And this is the conservatives that are up there. Even the ones that I don't always agree with, they're hardworking people. They're business people. A lot of them are veterans. They serve their country. They're grandparents. They are good, upstanding citizens in their community. They go to church. They attend their local assemblies, and they are actually involved in their local churches and their communities. That's what I see. And so when I see the activists who've come through that have gained 15 minutes of fame, and it's up to us to decide how we're going to let this go forward. Here's what I'm saying, and I'm going to be pushing for it between now and January. I want rules enforced, and if a chairman cannot enforce the rules, they lose their position as chairman. I'm going to tell you, Lawrence, I've chaired a lot of meetings. You've been a part of it. I would have loved to. Now, Clay Doggett didn't need my help, but I would
other
have
guy
loved
did.
to be in the chairman's place with a gavel in my hand, because I would not have been afraid of somebody crying and saying that I was being unfair.
Did you unfortunately, we wasn't there Thursday when House Bill 7064 was being debated. Mm-hmm. I encourage everybody to go and look at the video. You can go back and watch it.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to Todd Warner. He called when he got himself, he did proper procedure. They followed decorum. And when they got to him, he called for question. That ends discussion. You go to vote. And I mean, all these Democrat lawmakers jumped plumb up out of their seat. Have y'all actually watched this?
I have watched it.
It is amazing how they were so out of order. And Mark White, a Republican from Memphis, chairs this committee.
Did he have a gavel up there? Because I never.
Yeah,
did see
he had a gavel, but he don't know how. He don't know how to use. I know he don't know how to use
Somebody
it.
needs to show him which end you hold.
Oh, I can tell you who can show him. Clay Doggett can show him. Clay Doggett will show you how to use that.
Hurt my ears.
That's okay. Probably everybody else on radio too.
But anyway, the thing about it is, I feel like our Republican lawmakers, they should have not issued any legislation. And there again, I'm going to thank Clay Doggett, Kip Capley, and Todd Warner. And I hope they watch this. But they have done an awesome job. And what really gets me was this House Bill 7064, when we had 5 Republicans to side with 4 Democrats and kill this bill for citizens. Whether you're retired law enforcement, don't matter where you retired from, you're retired military or current military, or you have an enhanced carry permit, that you can carry anywhere on school grounds. That's important because most of these, in some of these schools, are gun-free zones. You know, you think about it. You get to a ball game on Friday night lights, whether you're playing at Giles County High School, Lawrence County High School, you have large crowds. And if somebody gets out of control and the police officers are not there quick enough to respond, a person who may be carrying could stop that situation immediately. Look at the churches. You don't see them going into the assemblies anymore, wanting to rob the churches or act a fool because they know people are carrying, they get their butt shot quick.
So can I tell you something? I don't even think people would have to use a gun. Just the fact that there's guns that could be there would keep people in line.
You're right. I agree.
I mean, you are a polite society when you are an armed society. And I want to tell you something. I want to kind of switch gears here a little bit because it's not being talked about a lot. And we got, our 15 minutes.
Flying by.
So has anybody been following what's been going on with the Maui fires in Hawaii?
I'm afraid that's a man-made thing.
Well, I'm going to even take it a step further. I've been doing research on it. Okay? So I want to discuss this a little bit. Maui has been marked to be a smart city. As far back as 2008, they started it as about wanting to be a smart city. And I'm going to tell you something about evil. Evil crisis is created. Then reaction is controlled. And then finally, evil solutions are executed. That is how evil works. Do you realize that there's only 2 geoengineering and direct energy weapons that are in the United States? One of them is in Nevada. Anybody want to take a guess where the other one's at?
Colorado?
No, Maui.
Maui? Okay.
There's only 2. And listen, don't take my word for it. Go to the U.S. Air Force website. You can find this just like I did from the U.S. Air Force website. You can find this. But there's only 2 of these direct energy weapons in the United States. One is in Nevada, the other one's in Maui. Right now, U.S. and Japan has this case study that they're doing for a smart city. We have an organization called Jumpstart Maui, and that from 2011 to 2016, there was a feasibility study for doing a smart city. In August, this is kind of funny, August 20th of 2018, not that long ago, the World Economic Forum, 5 years ago, how Hawaii plans on being the first U.S. state to run entirely on clean energy. The Hawaii government has been working on this since 2008, like I mentioned earlier. So what is the big deal about this? I want to tell you what the big deal is about this, and you had it, and I read it on your notes, that you have, Chris. Here comes COVID again.
Here it comes.
And you know what? New Jersey's already doing mask mandates, and a lot of these college campuses are already starting to do mask mandates. And we are having so much of a big deal right now being made out of 2030. We have Agenda 2030, and we haven't really discussed this on this radio program much, but Agenda 2030. And have you noticed that everything that our government is trying to do, they always want to say, like California. California says we're going to ban gas-powered cars in California. By when? 2030.
Lawnmowers, weed eaters.
Right. So there's so much of these things going on, and we even have our own government. Our own government, they keep saying things to us it's called conspiracy theory. Do you know why they put out theory? It's because to take away the conspiracy. But we are being conspired against by our own governments of the world. Not just ours, but other governments too. And I'm going to tell you something. The special session, COVID, this stuff here, the Maui fires, it's all, to me, seems that look here what the right hand is doing, and we're not paying attention what the left hand.
That's right.
And that, I'm telling you guys, that's what I'm seeing. But I will say this. Even though it looks like evil might be winning, God laughs. And Brandon's a pastor, so he probably even tell us where this may be from. But God laughs at evil imaginations.
Mm-hmm. It's Psalms. I can't think of the exact verse, but yes.
Because he knows the day he is coming. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I want to tell everybody. You know, we're up here, and this is fun. I'm going to tell you something. This is fun. It's fun making fun of the commie mommies and making fun of these Democrats and everything. But I'm going to tell you, and Brandon's been working on this, there's things that are coming and that we're seeing that are happening that it's going to make COVID lockdowns look like a walk in the park. And make no mistake, they want COVID lockdowns again. They want to try to lock down this country again. And I see it.
And you're correct, because we even got colleges as close as Atlanta already implementing mask mandates again. They start building this up.
Right.
Guess what? We're on the campaign trail.
We are, and you know, but again, it comes up with
Joe Biden needs a distraction right now.
Well, no, he needs to have something to go back to his basement. You know.
Well, I want to ask this while I'm thinking about it. Have you guys seen the video clip of Joe Biden? It's when he's talking about Trump's arrest the other day, and they won't show this, but another part of that clip is he says that there will be a new variant COVID shot, and everybody
is going to
will be mandated
he said
to take it. And it doesn't matter if you've already had the old COVID shot, you're going to have to take the new one. And everybody, well, I got news for you, Joe Biden. Come get me, because I ain't taking no shot. And I'm trying to be, I almost let one of them slip.
Right.
But I'm not taking a shot. I didn't take it the first time. I'm not going to take it the second time. I still have my rights. And it's about time we put our Constitution in front of everything and shove it up them Democrats' rear end sideways.
Well, it should be your right to choose what you want to do.
That's exactly right. It ain't their right to tell me.
If
the vaccine works, then why do you care if somebody doesn't get it?
The vaccine doesn't work.
Well, I know that, but here's the thing. No, these are the people that are trying to get these things to happen, and I'm trying to give people talking points here. If the vaccine generally works, why do you care if I take it? If I'm going to be part of the Darwin Awards and I'm supposed to take it and it was supposed to help, then I would die, and that's on me. Why do you care? I mean, obviously, the same people that are for vaccines, they have no problem ripping an unborn child out of a mother's womb and killing it. So they obviously don't care about life.
They're just evil people. That's the only thing. They're evil people, and we've got to put a stop to all this evil. Pure and simple.
We do, and I'm bringing in on some of this stuff. You know, the smart cities. We're seeing smart cities popping up right now in Europe, all over the place. We're watching central bank digital currencies taking place right now and coming in control. We're gonna see these things. Do you realize that right now we have 14 U.S. cities, and again, this keeps coming up over and over and over again. 2030. By the year 2030. 14 major American cities have signed on with the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group. And they are going to make it where there's zero consumption of meat, zero consumption of dairy, only 3 clothing items per year per person, and no private vehicles.
That's communism.
No, it's worse than communism. Is what we read about in the Bible when the Antichrist takes over. And I'm going to tell you, these are
what cities are they?
They're Austin, Boston, Chicago, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, New Orleans, New York City, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Portland, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and Seattle. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Take out just maybe a couple of those cities, but the rest of them, that's where 90% of the gun violence happens in America.
Well, they keep raising the taxes, and they're only going to be able to afford 3 pieces of clothing a year and no car.
And no meat and no dairy.
You can't afford to live there.
Well, inflation is doing the same thing.
The price of living, cost of living has gone so high. and with the state taxes they have. So we're blessed in the state of Tennessee what we have here, and no state taxes, the freedoms we have, and that's why I feel like
we have to keep fighting. We have to keep
we're
fighting.
Up here for our freedoms. The reason those cities are already in the state they're in, already in the condition they're in, rather, is because the citizens have allowed it to slip. They've allowed it to slip into the hands of those who are not concerned about the best interest of those living there. If they were, they would clean it up. There are resources available. They're taxing those people. I mean, they're taxing them to death. That's no other way to say it.
It's beginning to happen in Nashville and Memphis.
I tell people
Just
that
look
move
at
here,
it.
I tell
Yes.
people move here all the time, and I deal with new people moving to Tennessee every week. I'm dealing with new folks with the line of work I do, and I tell them, I said, look, what we expect from you folks is when they start trying to pass a state tax, I expect you to be screaming the loudest. I'll look at them and say, so does more taxes equal better quality of living? And they're like, no way. They're like, I got a pay raise as soon as I moved to Tennessee. You know, the same paycheck when you don't take out the state tax from California, the state tax of Connecticut, the state tax of different states around the United States. Plus, you have a lower cost of living, and they move here, property taxes are out the roof. And even in Texas, property taxes are out the roof. So they move here and literally gain tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not kidding, tens of thousands of dollar pay raise to move here.
But in the same token, Brandon, it's changing our traditional way of life.
Sure it is.
As fellow Tennesseans, it's caused with all this influx of people moving in and having an impact on the communities, whether it be Lawrence County, Lawrenceburg, Columbia,
Sure.
Mount Pleasant. There's an impact that's coming in with all these new people.
There is, but you know what?
And it's driving cost up.
It's driving cost up, but the thing is when these people come here, it's like Brandon mentioned. When I moved here from Florida 12 years ago, I researched, I knew what I was getting into, and I wanted to come in to this community, not to change the community. I wanted to live in this community because this is how I wanted to raise my family. And so many times people, when they move here, they're coming from these terrible situations, but they're so used to it that they want to make this place terrible, and they don't realize it. They think, well, what happens if we don't need to take care of our own roads? Like, people are moving here and they're buying houses, and they're like, well, the county should take care of our roads. Brandon, me and you both, we have, driveways, 0.2 of a mile or longer. Does the county take care of your road, Brandon?
No, sir. Let me take it one step further. I don't want them to.
I don't either. I have JC Wisdom taking care of my road.
Right.
Okay? So, and I knew that when I bought my property, that I was going to be responsible for taking care of my own road.
Maintaining your own driveway.
But you
That's
know what
correct.
concerns me, guys? And we're almost out of time, but what concerns me is how many people in this state are asleep and they're not paying attention. They don't think it's going to happen here. They don't realize that we have one of the fastest growing state in the United States, has been Tennessee for a while. The fourth fastest growing county, I believe, in the United States. I could be wrong, but it's Murray County. We're going to get that spillover in Giles County. We're touching this county.
Yes.
We're going to get that spillover in Lawrence. We're going to get that spillover in Lewis, and it's even going to affect
But
Wayne.
we've also got it to the south of us in our sister state, Alabama.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
Huntsville.
Where Huntsville is now
growing.
the largest city, and Limestone County, Athens, Alabama, is the fastest growing county
So,
in the state of Alabama.
Let me say this to the good citizens of this community, and I love you. I love living here. I love being your neighbor. You can't just set this one out.
You can't sit idle.
We're not going to be able to reverse it once we get bad legislation, once we get those in that are activists that want to destroy what has made Tennessee the best state in the United States. They want to destroy it. So don't set this one out, folks. Thank you for those of you that are involved. Thank you to all those folks that's been going up to the state capitol. Thank you guys for what you do behind the scene. Special thanks, Kip Capley, for letting us be on here today.
Strikers.
Strikers. But one thing we need to point out, and us three were involved in this, there are good people meeting across this state to how we can all work in unison and keep our freedoms.
Yes, and I tell you what, I wanted to, today we had things we had to do today, and we could not be at the Capitol. And I want to call him out by name, Chris Stutz, who is our leader of our election committee. We have Stephen Noose and his wife Cece. We have John Harper, our friend John Harper over in Wayne County, that is up there sending us this information back to us and letting us know what's going on. And everybody else that I don't know is up there, or I forgot your names. Thank you so much for going up there for us today.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And we live in a great place, a great state, and we're going to keep it that way.
And we want the Senate to hold their ground. Y'all are doing a great job.
Yeah. And folks are getting up and walking out mad. That's because we're winning. If we weren't winning, they wouldn't be getting up walking out of the room. So don't be discouraged. We're going to win.
We are.
Amen.
This is
Amen.
WDXE,
Fastest hour.
W287 AA and W237 FD Lawrenceburg. Broadcast services of Prospect,